learned. Yeah, I guess that's it. Let's do this. Top of the morning. To anybody tuning in, top of the morning. Billy, hello. Hello. Another day. Another call. Top of the morning. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm calling from Hawaii right now with my lighter that has very little fuel in it. And we're going to burn some incense and some things. So I was looking at my last name, Muehlbach, and it's German, which I've known that. But I guess I didn't realize how German. I was looking at like coats of arms and stuff, and there's like a whole Muehlbach coat of arms that I wasn't really aware of, which I thought was really cool. Which there's a lot in the last name, and I've been considering not changing my last name because I love my last name, but creating a last for me and my family in this new like Hobbit way that we live. It's gonna be fun. But anyway, what's up, guys? Welcome to the live. We are just doing what we usually do, which is chat about human design. Eventually, at some point, Crone, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate you. Haven't even gotten into it yet, but you know, it's getting to the point where I'm probably going to start doing some like live readings. Probably not this time around, but I'm going to figure out a system to do some live readings because I think that could be fun, and I think it could be a beneficial way for people to connect with their human design, aside from me just like riffing on stuff. So you guys have inspired me to do that because multiple people have asked me if we're going to be doing that. And so yeah, the answer is yes. Not this time around, but the answer is definitely yes. We will be doing that soon. So you guys have that to look forward to. And what should we talk about today, guys? What's on everyone's hearts and minds? I recently started. I'll answer my own question. I recently started practicing Reiki again. By practicing Reiki, I mean Reiki with another person because I do Reiki pretty much every day on myself and my family. But practicing Reiki with another person, which has been so wonderful. Like I forgot how good it feels to channel Reiki for people. So anyway, that's been fun. Are you getting jazzy this fine morning? I'm getting pretty jazzy, my friend. I've got my little I forget what this is called. Anyone know what like these big goblets are called for burning incense? I'm burning incense right now. Chelsea, I need to know about reflectors. I don't know any, and I'm so curious. So I'm super curious too because I feel like a reflector in the wild is very rarely actually a reflector. Like based on the transits and based on the fact that if you're with a reflector, you're probably creating some kind of what you call it composite with them because you're interacting with them, and that tends to change the reflector's expression. You know, like when you have a reflector body graph and another body graph, almost always you're going to have at least one center defined. I've yet to run a reflector body graph with another reflector body graph and not have some kind of composite or definition in centers appear, which is not to say that a reflector can't be a reflector when they're with other people. It's just that it takes a lot of work to be a reflector with other people. JNet, what's up? Thanks for sharing the live. Saw you share the live. Appreciate you. You guys are, you know how this works. Tap the screen, put your fingers to work. One thing I would recommend is don't tap with your thumb because I feel like I don't want anyone to like get pain in their thumb. What I'll usually do if I'm in like Cody's live or someone's, I'll get my hands like this and I'll just tap the screen like this. So it's kind of like I'm practicing my guitar trills. Um, but that's a much more efficient way to tap than to using your thumb. Just saying. I was using my thumb the other night and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. I don't want anyone to have to do that. So, yeah, if you're going to tap the screen, tap it like this because that way I feel like is probably not great for your thumb. Um, which you guys want to do a hand exercise to open up? Let me show you guys a hand exercise real quick. So one thing about the hands that a lot of people don't recognize is they're similar to the ears and the feet in that they have you guys know what zone therapy is. It's like if you look at your foot, like there's your spine, right? Like there's your perineum, there's your, there's parts of your there's parts of your body that are reflect or fractalized in your hands. Okay. And so this exercise that we're going to do is actually really, really simple. I kind of have to stand up to show it to you. What you're going to do is you're going to put your elbow right here by your side. And then you're going to take your hand and you're going to try and line your middle finger up with the middle of your arm. Now, remember, guys, this is part of my archive. So if you guys want more exercises like this or a better explanation, it's in the archive, which is just a small membership. Kind of, you can think of it like a Patreon, like support me, but then also participate in the community and all the courses that I have. So anyway, middle finger lines up here in the middle of the arm. And then what you're going to do is you're going to try and make your pinky and your thumb go far away from each other. So I'm trying to make my hand as big as I can without losing the centering of my middle finger. Okay. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to go into a little bit of flexion. I'm going to just flex down like this, kind of like I'm trying to, like a heel, like when you dig your heel into the ground. Think of this as your heel and you're digging it into the ground. So what I'm looking to do is take this part of my hand and without moving this part of my arm, push this. You guys see how this part gets longer? Okay, that's what we're trying to do. Flexion in there. And we're looking to do a relaxed kind of like it's just like energized. So it's like you're trying to make your hand bigger with this one. You can do it with both at the same time, although it's good to focus on one. Then once you have that, yeah, you feel like Spider-Man doing this. So here's the thing is if you don't take up space with your body, what takes up the space? Kind of a rhetorical question. But if you don't take up the space that your body is intended to take up, what takes up the space? It's a similar question of if you don't manifest your internal authority, what authority gets established? The internal authority of other people's plus the external authority. Correct. So this is part of a way of occupying physical space rather than this. See how much more space there is, and I have to try. And so the idea is that when you do this, you're increasing the surface area of your hand, you're increasing the connectivity, and now this next part, you guys are gonna love this next part. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hand right about here, okay, in the lower half of your forearm. You're gonna take your hand and you're gonna twist it outward. The reason you want to twist it outward, and you're not doing this like you're trying to Indian burn yourself, but you twist it outward, and then you're going to turn the hand over. But instead of leading from the hand, watch this. This is me leading from the hand. You see how the thumb goes over and it turns? You want to keep your thumb in this Spider-Man position, and you want to see if you can turn from the bone in here. Turn as far as you can, and then go the other way. Go back the other way. Again, I'm not using my hand to start the turn, keeping that hand activated, and then I'm rotating from the bone. So I will literally just be like sitting, like talking to a friend, and I'll be doing this exercise, and they'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just making my hands bigger." And so again, this is similar to what we've been doing or what we do in sensory mechanics. Wait, this is so real. I'm telling you. So, like I said, guys, this is a part of what I call the archive. The archive is kind of like my vault, my membership. And there's courses in there. There are courses. Once you're in the archive, like most of the courses are free. I haven't made any that are paid, at least. But most of the courses are free, and it's like thousands of dollars, in my opinion, of coursework that's condensed by like two of the most practical, cynical people that I can imagine, myself and my buddy Pasha. We're just like any nonsense that gets into our heads or our environment, we just like call it out. And so that's what we've done with a lot of the exercises and the things that we've learned over the years, is if we've put it into the archive. So anyway, if you want to come join the archive, the link is in the bio. It's only $11 a month. And again, it's going to like continues to fuel all of this stuff that we do. Hey, I downloaded the app. You're a teacher in there. Oh, yeah. So you're talking about neutrino design. Yeah. Why does it look threatening? It's a great question. Threatening is really interesting, is because one of the things that I endeavor to do is to tap people into the like, not necessarily the violence within them, but the deadliness. Like, it's my personal belief that you will be happier if you experience more of your own ferocity and threatening ability. Like, your ability to protect yourself and the people that you love, whether you're a man or a woman, is quite simply, if someone is trying to take something from you, can you incapacitate them? Can you put them down on the floor and make it so that they can't hurt you? And while that may not be like a new age spiritual thing, in my opinion, that is one of the most important things that we need to come into contact with, is our ability to be dangerous. Right? Because there's this talk about nonviolent communication, and I am 100% for nonviolent communication. There are times when nonviolent communication is not the communication that's happening. It's violent, and you have to be able to command your own violence, or else black out and lose control. So anyway, if you don't have control or union with your own violence, you won't have under control. It makes you more violent, low key. Exactly. And so I talk a lot about how people have a switch, right? It's like they're non-violent, but if I push one of these non-violent, spiritual dudes into a corner enough, he will grab a brick and try and hit me in the head, or try and pull a knife out on me. Like, he's the kind of guy that will go crazy. Versus my brother, who's an MMA fighter, if I push him against the wall, he'll just slap me in the face and be like, "What are you doing?" See, some guys have a switch, some women too, but definitely aggression in guys is more like this. It's like a switch, right? And instead of a switch, what you need is a dial. The only way you get the dial is by subjecting yourself to those stressful environments and creating tolerance. So one of the things that this exercise will help you do, in a sort of unrelated way, is it will help you become more, how you say, you more attuned to the things you're holding on to and the things that you're letting go. Right? Because as we're doing this, we're changing the orientation of our hand. Whatever you're holding in your hand, when you flip it over, is going to fall out. Now, the cool part about this is that the exercise, where did it go? The exercise is about getting your hand to move from the elbow, from the core of your being, and not the hand itself. Right? So what does this mean? This means that the entire body participates in letting go and being open to receive things, rather than just the hands. See the hands versus the entire body, and everything being connected. So this exercise doesn't really have a name. I mean, we can call it like Spider-Man hands, but this is part of a greater body of work called sensory mechanics, which is all about making your hands bigger, making your feet bigger, making your neck wider, making your eyes bigger, making the ear holes bigger, so that you can more properly absorb information from the external world. And then the second part of it is creating the proper temperature and pressure inside your body, so that all of that information you absorb, you can cook it properly. One of the biggest problems people have is that they have low resolution images of what's going on, and they have either too little pressure or too much pressure, or too little heat or too much heat, to properly cook the things that they're observing and that they're experiencing. This is called processing, and the ability to process something while other things are going on is called tolerance. So the ability to have my experience and let you have your experience is called tolerance. When my experience is being intruded on by your experience, but I can consciously choose to let you have your experience still without interrupting it. That's called greater tolerance. So what we want to do as human beings, in my opinion, is to build is to build tolerance, not only for other people, but primarily for ourselves. When you learn how to tolerate yourself, when you learn how to tolerate your own projections, you can tolerate other people easier. That's how it is. How are these kind of exercises called? So we call these things sensory mechanics. And again, if anyone wants to learn about them, there's a free. I think there's a free trial still on my archive. You get a couple days for free. You can check out all the classes, see if you want to keep the membership going. But the link for that is in my bio, and it's again, this is like one of like I think 30 or so exercises that we have up there. And the archive is not just sensory mechanics, it's also biomechanics, so like learning how to walk, run, and throw better, and then also soft tissue, which is learning how to basically erase trauma from the body. Um, I think as our world changes more and more, tolerance is a necessary skill to learn, big time, because tolerance is different than like trying to make everything inclusive. Okay, tolerance doesn't mean oh, I'm going to just like let that happen. It means whatever is going on out there is not going to shake my foundation in what I'm going to do, right? Why do you wholeheartedly believe in human design? So I actually, in a way, it's funny you say this, because I don't necessarily believe in human design because there's nothing to believe in. Human design is just like it's like a body, it's like a dictionary of, in my opinion, a very, very old dictionary that has words and languages and certain processes that are very rarely used, or at least have been translated and are like loosely used in the current day. The reason I like human design is because it's not trying to get us to believe in anything. What it's trying to do is give us a language and a visual map to return to what we naturally are. And so the reason I like human design is because it's not telling you who you are, it's almost provoking you, like, hey, have you done this yet? Because if you haven't, give it a shot. And if it doesn't work for you, don't use it. But if it does work for you, use it. So the reason I personally believe in human design is because I've given it a shot and it works really well for me. And everyone that I connect with about human design that genuinely gives it a shot, and by give it a shot, I don't mean like learns human design. I mean, they simply start to use their strategy and their authority. Again, this is another great thing. You just simply start to use what's called your strategy and authority in your daily life, and you again you see how that affects the decisions that you make, because the idea is that most people are not making decisions in the way that they're supposed to be making decisions. Most people make decisions based off, well, what is the right decision to make? And sometimes the right decision to make according to the external authority is not the right decision for you. How do you find it aligns with astrology and gene keys? So it's not really like, even though you may see sometimes astrological symbols in human design, we don't use one of the main things that makes astrology, which is the constellations. We don't use the constellations. They're there for reference in terms of times of the year, but we don't actually use them in terms of like informing any of the information or details that we get from it. Gene Keys is a derivative of human design that is focused less on strategy and authority in the body graph and more focused on the contemplation of the actual gates. So to me, it's like a niche field of it. It's like you have golf, right? And then Gene Keys is like mini golf. Not to make Gene Keys seem insignificant or anything, but it's like a branch of the main meat. And in another way, you can see it like this: is like I Ching is the trunk of the tree, human design is one branch, Gene Keys is the other branch. That's actually a better way to do it. You know what? That's totally fair. Yeah, Moses. And again, it's like, the reason I get on here is because I just wish there was something I could go to and feel for certain the teaching is objective. So my friend, there's no human teacher that you're going to be able to get that from. Even me, with all of my objectivity and reflectorness, don't Don't seek that in another human being. And human design and astrology and the Kabbalah, all of this stuff was man-made, and so what you're really looking for again is what human design kind of points to, in my opinion, and what a lot of the things like ancient systems point to, which is like back to nature. Is it's a process of watching yourself, observing yourself, accepting yourself, loving yourself, and then from that loving place making change, because making change from a place that is devoid of love, in my opinion, is a very slippery slope. And it's typically based off of, I want to be this for somebody else, right? And so anyway, yeah, objective wisdom, again, is one of those things where it's like certain things work in some contexts and they don't work in other contexts. What you have to do, and my invitation to you, my friend, is to experiment with what human design has to offer, right? Experiment with your strategy and authority for at least a month, see how that goes for you. And if it goes well, or you find some insights, keep going. That's it. It's not necessarily going to be how you say a walk in the park. It might be challenging, but that's what spiritual growth is about. It's about challenging the things so that you can expand into what you are. Because as children, we think we're children, but we're actually people that spend some time as children, right? And we're human beings that spend some time as child, and then we're actually souls. We're consciousness. We're disembodied consciousness that spends time in a body. So, human design, in a lot of ways, to me, gives us one of the most objective perspectives of the physical body and the electromagnetic circuitry that each of us has, and the differences between them. So it's awesome. As a child, yes. Jenny, hello. We are rocking it today, Jenny. Cancer and diagnosed bipolar manic depressive. I would be very careful with those those medical folk, because one of the things that they can't do is prescribe you medicine or treatments without first labeling you as something. And I'm not here to say that your chemicals are all balanced and if you just did this. What I'm saying is that um, the medical system, similar to human design, is going to defend the medical system, right? And one of the ways that the medical system defends itself is by getting people on medication. They get them on that kind of stuff. And while again, a small majority of the people definitely benefit from it, there's a vast or a small minority of people benefit from it. There's, in my opinion, a vast majority of people that are simply like unaware of how their body functions and the things that they need to do on the daily to produce the right level chemicals, to produce the right endorphins, etc., for themselves. And instead of being guided to do that, they just are guided to get on the medications, which again makes money for the doctors and the people. I was in the medical field and transitioned over to holistic, Lena. Yep, a lot of people are doing that, and it's because all of the medicines come from plants, guys. Like Tylenol comes from a plant, right? So anyway, yeah, just I get very passionate about that kind of stuff because I spent a lot of my time working with people who were diagnosed, severe depression, severe anxiety, bipolar disorders, what schizophrenia. I've worked with those people, and when you give those people the right thing to obsess about, and you don't see them as like this broken chemical thing, like they something happens. Something has happened to a lot of those people that I work with, um, who are now like, I don't want to say normal because normal sucks, but it's like they're definitely not they're not walking around taking a bunch of medication. So and that was in the past when I would work with people directly doing Reiki on them. And that was a magical time. And like I think I said at the beginning of this live, I opened my doors to someone recently, doing Reiki with them, and it was an awesome experience. And I didn't stop because it was not awesome like before. I didn't stop doing Reiki, but I did. I just because it was just the timing of it all. So how do I incorporate Reiki with human design, or do I incorporate? Yes. How do I incorporate it? Great question. I'm still learning how to do that. You know, for me, Reiki is all about self-love, self-care, self-awareness, right? Um, Sadie, what's up? And so when you are uh saturated with self-love and self-awareness and self-acceptance, to me that makes human design, in a way, it gives it like an easier way to land, because so much of what human design is saying is if you're to take the experiment seriously and you get through that threshold of like, hey, see if strategy and authority works for you. If it does, great, move into the next experiment. The next layer is like, can you accept that that some of these things that you don't like in your body graph, in terms of like, oh, you're very provocative, you're confused, or you're full of doubt, or you're full of fear in these certain ways. Can you accept that that's a part of your system, and then that's a natural function in your system? And if you can find a way to accept it, that life will just be better. Reiki is really helpful with that, because in a lot of ways, and I'll show you guys some Reiki right now, all you got to do is just rub your hands together. You feel that heat building up? That's energy. Temperature is literally a measure of heat. What is heat? What energy? So once you do that, then you just pull your hands apart very, very slightly. And if you feel the energy moving between your hands, in between, like in this space right here, that's Reiki. The reason we're alive is because Reiki is moving through us. I felt a physical pang in my gut the other night when my dog got bit by. Oh, what is going on in the chat, my friends? But anyway, if you guys are doing this, you're probably not typing, but this is, again, this is my introduction to Reiki. Is I was told to do this, and I did it, and I felt something, and it feels like there's something in between my hands. I can't say what it is. It's kind of moving, but I can feel something in my hands. Then what you do is you tune into your body, and if there's any part that hurts or any part that your hands feel called to, you go there. And then you just kind of same thing, like you're just be aware of the space between your hands. I'm gonna send some prayers up to your dog, Riley. What's oh, that's what this is for. Someone gave me Reiki and I could see lights when I closed my eyes. It was so cool. Moses, yeah. Yeah, my friend. Um, yeah, we'll send some Reiki to that dog. Look at that. Lightning bolts, courtesy of Janet. Um, you don't think the attunements are important? It's not that I don't think the attunements are important, but I know people who have been attuned to the highest degree that don't practice Reiki, and I know people that just practice Reiki, and the people that just practice Reiki are better, in my opinion. I think the attunements are an important way of structuring Reiki so that people can conceptualize the power through lineage. However, it's really, the lineage is just a long line of people that have practiced it, right? And just because you have a title doesn't mean you practice it, correct? Right? Like we have professionals out here with titles that don't actually do the thing that their title says they do. And it doesn't mean they're going to be bad at it. They might have gotten their reps in already and they're just really good. But generally speaking, especially when it comes to Reiki and spirituality, there's a sense of spiritual egotism. You guys know what I'm talking about, where someone has been in the space long enough and they don't actually do the things anymore that got them to that space, but they're still claiming that, like, I'm this great thing. When I, at the height of my Reiki practice, I was doing an hour of Reiki on myself every day, like literally sitting and just like really tuning in, because I was working with other people actively. And so it's not to say that I need to do that, but what I'm saying is that when it comes to attunements, you are attuning yourself. Okay. And when it comes to receiving an attunement from a teacher, again, the lack of receiving an attunement from a teacher is no excuse to as to why like Reiki is not like moving through. Again, everyone is already Reiki. Everyone is alive because of Reiki. So agree. I don't use the third symbol for abstentia. I find the intention that matters so I can see it. Yep, even the symbols are, again, symbols. It's a finger pointing at the moon. It's not the moon. Is there somewhere to start with Reiki if you're not looking to be a Reiki master specifically? So what I would do, and it's good to work with a teacher. It is good to work with someone. is better than, like, in my opinion, an online course. Although I have been teasing around the idea of creating some kind of like Reiki mentorship program, which if you guys want that, again, like I'm paying attention to what's this is like my closest finger on the pulse to what the audience wants. Reiki and Chi are similar. The Rei part of Reiki, or sorry, the Chi part of Reiki is the key part of Reiki is Chi. Chi, Ki. They're the same thing. Rei in the word means that it's like universally charged with the like universal life force or universal wisdom. Is it weird that I think I've been doing Reiki unintentionally? No, not at all. So the reason why you would want to learn from a teacher is because there are a lot of practices and there is a lot of momentum in the lineage. Janet says yes. I'm guessing that's do the thing. Chief Keef. What? um, I think they never hurt people who already practice, and you can always learn more. Totally, yeah. And this is the thing: it's not like one attunement will lock you out from working with Reiki or anything like that. And yeah, if you want to learn professionally, again, that is something that I've been teasing around in my own head. Because straight up, guys, to learning self healing, I don't want to like unglorify it, but it's like, oh, chi. That was kind of soft. I got you, flow bud. Um, it's kind of like, I've always looked at people that do online courses and online attunements, and I judge them, and so that's part of my resistance towards making one myself because I've judged those people. But Reiki is very simple, guys. And again, in a 2 hour course, probably 2 3 hour course, I could show you every like 99% of the things that you need to um to have a really strong personal practice. And that's how Reiki starts. Like um if you want to be a healer, you have to first engage in healing yourself. Now this doesn't mean you have to be healed. If you want to be a healer, you don't have to have healed all of your stuff, right? Pass through a hot Reiki coated hot shower tubes. What's going I've had people offer to teach me I never felt good about from those people for some reason. Yeah, exactly. Don't follow those. And again, that's your intuition. Is like, you're gonna get plenty of people who come along your path that are kind of like they're gonna show you what you're actually tuned into. Um, and again, through projection, primarily through judgments. Do you need to ground or protect yourself before? I intuitively feel I don't need to. It depends. Like, so for instance, if I'm feeling really grounded, I'm not going to do as much grounding before I go into a session. If I feel really ungrounded, I'm going to do more grounding. Again, so much of Reiki is really tuning into what is the current what is the current layer. Oh, did we get a hippo? Yes, I can't believe it. We've been getting. Oh my God, we're so close to this, guys. I don't know if you guys know who Mu Dang is. You probably do. You know who Mu Dang is. Oh my God, Janet just pushed us over. All right, guys. Well, we need a new live goal now. But anyway, I was talking about. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Jenny, for those little Mu Dangs. I freaking love those guys. Um, okay, let's go. Let's do some kitties this time. Still Mudang. All right, works for me. Um, Thanks for the little baby hippos, guys. But anyway, grounding. Um, so much of what I have been obsessed with is like, how well can you tap into what's actually going on? And human design helps with that. Reiki is a big factor in that. Biomechanics and being aware of like the physical body and the sensations, the sensory mechanics, all the stuff in the archive that I was sharing with you guys. All of that contributes to, hey, what is actually going on right now in my body? Like if you guys were to close your eyes and just tune into your physical body, like is there any part of your body that's tighter than others? First question. And if you take a deep breath into that space, be it your low back or your knees or your hands or your shoulders, and you exhale and you consciously release tension from that area, does it become less tense? Does it become less painful? Reiki is spending 15 minutes doing that in like the same spot or in multiple spots, right? It's releasing the mental chokehold on healing energy moving to places. Because again, when you get cut for people with healthy functioning autoimmune systems. When you get cut, do you have to do anything to heal the cut, or does the cut just scab over on its own? I already know the answer. It scabs over on its own. So as long as you don't rub dirt in it or pick at the scab or impede the healing process, your body will heal itself. This is how I see Reiki. Everyone, as long as you don't impede the process of Reiki, you're naturally going to be healing. Your life is a healing journey. You're going to look for ways to reduce pain, because pain is a signal. Pain is letting you know, hey, something's not right here. Let's fix this. Why does it take 15 minutes? So curious why it can't be instantaneous, which is the thought or intention. Great question, Wide Awake. So when it comes to physical matter, right, like material things, there's a certain level of density to the physical world that if you ping something, like for instance, instantaneously, like if I instantaneously like fix my elbow, the part of my elbow that receives information from source, okay, that's the thing that I'm looking to unwind and relax, right? What I'm looking to do is not trigger, like heal something. I for instance, based on what I was saying, it's not that you can't heal things instantaneously. It's that the body takes time. The body has a process to healing itself, and so while healing emotional and mental and spiritual things might be instantaneous, physical healing, in my opinion, is best done slowly, or not slowly, but at the pace of healing that it wants to go at. And this is just my personal opinion, because I've learned so much from injuries and the limitations that those injuries imposed on me. And when it comes to instantaneous healing, for me, like 90% of the time, it's not I want to heal this, or it's not about the healing process. It's about I want to get onto something else and this is holding me back. Sometimes it's supposed to hold you back. Can I heal my disabled brother's leg with Reiki? You can definitely spend 15 minutes a day. And it's not 15 minutes is an arbitrary number. It can be 5, 10 minutes, but you can spend 10, 15 minutes a day gently holding their leg, right, in different places, and just infusing love into it. Because again, here's the thing, like a disabled joint, a disabled limb, yes, it doesn't function in the way that an able-bodied person's limb would work, but that doesn't make it any less deserving of love. And that's where you're going to be able to fill in the gap. So as a Reiki master teacher, because someone asked, are you a Reiki master teacher? I am. um, Reiki, life force energy, prana, chi are other terms for the same force. Yes, correct. When Jesus was going around healing blind people and lepers and stuff, he was using Reiki. They just didn't call it that. Now, here, understand that Reiki, the healing abilities that stem from Reiki and the practice of Reiki are actually derived. They're actually derived from knowing and being aligned with your purpose. How do you go with that theory about demons in Reiki? Oh, I mean, I think it's really cute that somebody is saying that, Reiki is demonic because and I actually confronted the guy who said that, who put that out there, because everything that he was sharing to me, I'm like, bro, you just have poor discernment with humans. This isn't Reiki's fault. You've just been on like a back to back episode. Like, you're finding all of the people that like to project responsibility rather than take responsibility, right? Because when you're working with subtle energies, you're also working with another human being, right? And it's not that Reiki could never be a demon thing. It's just whenever I've tapped into Reiki, it's never been a demonic thing for me. And that being said, like I'm not really afraid of demonic energies. In the hierarchy of spirituality, demonic forces are so very dense. That's why they're demonic, is they're so dense and they're stuck in a certain way. Human beings have the ability to lower their vibration and interact in that way, which is not a bad thing, mind you, because a human being authority does not exist in only this certain sliver. It's actually in a lot of places. Are we connected to the unified field and directing energy with intention? Correct. It's like, what is your intention for doing this healing? And this is why when I teach people to do healings, I talk about speaking about intentions beforehand, before invoking the intention, because it's very different to say, I'm praying for the highest and best good, and for the deepest levels of acceptance and love, and I'm praying for the healing of my brother's leg. Don't pray for the healing of your brother. It's already healing. Pray for the acceptance of the timeline and the material expression of the healing, right? Be in a state of gratitude, because again, Reiki is already here healing stuff. So anyway, can you help explain the difference between sacral gut response and intuition? Totally. Sacral gut response is a party going on in your gut, or a party ending in your gut, right? It's the rallying of energy, of a physical energy to do something in your gut space. And intuition is like a whisper from a spy, and they can only send a whisper, right? The gut is like, oh, if the party is ending, some people make it out faster than others, but there's like a as long as the thing is still in your space and you can respond to it, your gut response is going to repeat itself. The intuition doesn't usually do that, doesn't repeat itself. Moses, let me rephrase. He has a lot less stuck in the human ego than the majority of us. Wait, what? I'm definitely like, I have ego and I get stuck in it sometimes, but I would say I'm really good at seeing where I'm stuck in it. Um, would using Reiki to heal a deformed side of a brain counteract what I came here to learn with it? Not necessarily, but like for instance, healing a deformed part of your brain. What I would do is I would pray, and I would heal with the intention that I'm oh, got you. Oh, for sure. I thought you were talking about me. Ego. um Although ego, Jesus did have an ego, and he had to overcome his ego, which is he did. On the cross, he's like, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they're doing." That was having an ego, but still showing compassion and not wanting revenge. So anyway, yeah. So with the deformity in your brain, change it up. Call it an anomaly. My intention is to find gratitude and acceptance for this anomaly in my brain, right? Don't healing, funny enough, healing has become a barrier to healing. Uh how do I help my 22-year-old daughter who just lives in your ego? You learn how to tolerate it and you learn how to love it, because the ego is the immature version of the soul. And if you feed it love and tolerance, then it matures into the soul, especially as the mother. If you resist it and you try and manipulate it and malform it, that's when it really distorts. So, anyway, um, will we ever be able to heal like Jesus? I really don't know, because, and here's the reality: as much as I believe in Jesus, I never met the dude, right? As much as I've tuned into the presence of Christ, as much as I've, had dreams with Jesus and had conversations with Jesus through mediums and through my own channelings, like, I've never physically met the dude. So I can't necessarily say we're going to be able to heal like him. And what I like to believe personally is that we can actually heal better than Jesus, right? In a way, Jesus was, in my opinion, kind of this like shock and awe. This is what's coming, right? This is what we're going to be able to do on a massive scale. And now, living in the society and the worlds that we live in now, we actually have we have the ability not to heal like Jesus, but to actually, in my opinion, heal in I don't want to say better, but we're able to do it now, right? Rather than like trying to be like somebody 2000 years ago. I'm going to show up to the way that we heal things now. And like I was saying, now we're at 25,000 likes, and that's awesome, guys. You guys are epic. Which is funny. We haven't talked about human design much at all. Um, which is great. I think this is giving me the signals that I was praying for in terms of guidance. Um, I'm going to change my thing from your human design BFF back to Reiki Marco. Anyway, can Reiki help with constant nervousness in the solar plexus when you don't really know its source? Totally. So one really good exercise for the solar plexus to do to help with anxiety is called deep pressure therapy. Basically, what you do is you can start, and you need like a heavy thing. You need like something that's going to be like 70, 80, 90 pounds, right? And you take it and you lay flat on your back and you put it on your chest and you just like keep from being crushed for like 10 minutes. Yeah. What about healings happening during Dr. Joe Dispenza's speech? Have you heard about? I've heard about Joe Dispenza. And again, I'm not to say that the work that Joe Dispenza is doing is not right. My approach is from a different angle. My approach is from the physical body, whereas Joe Dispenza is more from the mental body. I'm like, how do we get there through the physical body? And because I want to learn about all the things, I don't want to necessarily just like have my pain erased. I didn't even notice you changed your name from Reiki Marco. Yeah, I didn't realize I did that either. It's a weird TikTok feature, um, which I just did that because I saw someone that was like you're a rich Asian BFF, and I was like, yeah, I'm people's um you know uh human design BFF, but I think the Reiki Marco thing is really what it is. Nothing helped my anxiety. I've tried to heal it for years. So Luna, try this out. Can Reiki heal a bladder prolapse? Reiki again, your body can heal anything if you give it the right conditions. Yeah, I don't resonate with Joe Dispenza as I tried to read his books and could not connect. Right. And this is the thing is, if you can't connect with the teacher, it's probably because your designs are incompatible with the teachings, right? And that's and follow that. And it doesn't mean their teachings are wrong. Like I'm not going around because here's what people do. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to do yoga, and then I'm going to do functional patterns, and then I'm going to be like, oh, now that I do functional patterns, I'm going to try and tear down yoga." It's like, no, just do the thing that works for you. Attract the people that resonate with you. Work with those people. Stop trying to like, you don't have to tear other things down to make your thing better. Just be better. Any paths, yes, it's the center of town or the top of a mountain. No matter which direction you approach from, west, north, east, south, northwest, east, south, north, west, north, north, east, you're gonna get to the center. It's your path though. You can't focus on other people's feet when you're walking your path. Anyway. Thank you for answering my question. Helps so much. I'm glad I've caught your live. Yes. And again, for anyone with anxiety, I live with anxiety. And so it's much less severe than it used to be. But the things that help me the most, I've put in course format and it's available via the archive, which is an $11 membership. Okay, so $11 a month gets you access to, for in terms of value, like thousands of dollars worth of coursework, and that's video material. Not to mention you're also in a community platform, so if you have questions you can ask them in the community, and being a part of my community, like that's my community. I'm going to take care of you guys, so I'll do my best. At least it will get to a point where there's a lot of people, but there's also a lot of healers in that network that draw their teachers, their instructors, their physical therapists, and they use that source, the archive and the videos and the coursework there in their own practice. And that's what it's for. So if you're a professional and you're like, I want the cutting edge stuff, join the archive. $11 a month gets you like the VIP. Like I just want to let as many people back here as possible because again, I cannot do this all on my own. That's where it's at. I don't have any non-disclosure agreements for the stuff that I teach because none of the stuff is original in my part anyway. I'm just giving people access to it. That's like 2 coffees a month. Exactly. And you know, people told me like, "Oh man, you should make this more expensive. I would pay more for this." And I'm like, "Look, I love you and I appreciate that you're projecting all over me and you want me to be successful, but I'm fine with $11 a month." At any point in anybody's life, they can find $11 a month to participate in a healthy community and have basically endless coursework. That's my opinion. I wanted it to be accessible. It's more important that people are using it than that I'm making a living off of it. I have other ways of making income that support me. So that's kind of like, anyway. Have those people tip. Accessibility is important. Right. And it's also it's like, it comes back to me in ways that I can't predict. And I love that. So I'm so glad I found your lives. I've been sending my friends your videos for such a long time. Crown, thank you. I'm so happy you found the live as well. Did you know that we love you? I did. I do know that now. Thank you. Um, yeah, awesome. Awesome. So again, if you guys enjoy this, like the best thing that you can do is just share the message and spread the love because my greatest desire and motivation is like I just want people to have access to this information, guys. I just really want them to have access to the information. They can do whatever they want with it. They can hate on it, they can follow it, they can learn from it, they can grow from it, they can do whatever they want with it. But as long as they have access to it, that's what's important to me. Because we're not always going to have access to this information. And um, I hope you guys have that in your frame of awareness that how the way things are, even though they're crazy, the access to information that we have right now in 2024, Friday, October 11th, is insane. We have more access to information, more access to resources than we have ever had in our entire species as humanity, unless there's ancient species that I don't even know about. But regarding like the internet and everything, we have so much access to information, and it's so important that these lives, in my opinion, people like myself, people like Cody the Sound Healer. If you guys don't know Cody the Sound Healer, he's my boy. I will literally just like late night hang out with Cody on live, and he's just like playing flute or just jamming, putting bangers on YouTube or Spotify, making his jewelry. It's so important to have people like that um, getting attention and getting how you say, primarily getting that you are channeling your attention into those people, um, because love me some Cody, exactly, because they are in a way, you know they are the representatives of all of this work that we're doing, right? They're the ones that are up on stage right now. And the beautiful thing about it is like what I'm doing right now is I'm like, hey, go follow Cody. Go, and this is like at its core, you guys are sending my videos to your friends. I'm sending you to my friends. Like we're networking, we're creating pathways of information, just like an organism. And it's connect the healthiest organisms to each other, and the thing can only get healthier. Is it possible that we can have even more access to information if we shift timelines? Curious question. I don't know. I think as technology gets better, we will get access to more information. However, what's really important to recognize is all of the relevant information that you need to have access to is already inside of your body. And that's what I love human design and Reiki for, is like, it teaches us like, hey, if you just slow down enough and appreciate what's going on inside your own body, like all of the answers you're seeking is right there. It's sometimes it's, hey, this environment is not right for me, get into a different environment. Yeah, I want to live in a community that's just working on evolving, right? And so the way that you find that community is you hold a standard of, hey, look, this is the things that I need to see in the community. you know like for instance, you might want to set standards and get clear on whether or not you want people that have been vaccinated in your community. And I don't have any issues with anyone that's personally like having a friendship with them in terms of vaccinations. I know a lot of people did it kind of like against their will and etc. And I don't want to get flagged for being like, an anti schmaxer or whatever. But in terms of having a community, like, look, we rely on a more holistic way of treating disease and illnesses and viruses and stuff that it is not that's not included. So those things, it's like, how you say, uh diet choices, movement styles, what gods do you believe in? Like, get clear on those standards, because there are a lot of communities that are evolving, but they are also very clear on their standards, right? And so if you're not clear on your standards, you might adopt the standards of another community, and you might just be there because they're growing and evolving, but meanwhile you're out of sync with yourself. So it's I'd feel bad to have rules, right? But you're going to feel worse when you don't have rules, is what I'm saying. Clarity in relationships and community is key. Yes, Lindsay, exactly. Because you can think of it like this: if you don't know what you care about, when you come into a community, you show up as the confusing one. You show up as the one that is, how you say, not I want to say out of place, but you show up as the one that's bringing something that is detracting from the overall thing. That's what my comment was about. As the collective continues to awaken, we won't need tech, right? Yeah, and that's the thing, is like none of us need tech right now. We've confused luxuries with necessities, and you can see that reflected in the way that we talk in relationships. People say, look, I just need you to text me when you're on your way home. It's like, no, you don't. You want me to text you. If I don't text you, is your head going to explode? No, then you don't freaking need it, right? I need you to not talk to these girls. No, what you need to do is you need to respect your own boundaries and leave someone who you feel like is disrespecting you. Okay. Luxuries and necessities are not the same thing. And then have discernment for the tolerance would serve you. Exactly. Then have discernment. So it's really important to just have your values and then be ready to learn what truths matter to you. Exactly. So that's the thing is you can feel bad for having the rules, but again, um, if you don't have rules for yourself, yeah, and I call them standards because it's not a, the rule at the freaking the roller coaster. There it is. There's the word. The rule at the roller coaster is you must be this tall to ride. Why do they have that rule? Because if you're smaller than this height, you could fly out of the seat and die. Okay? Your standards and your rules are there to protect you. This new age spirituality, new age super inclusive society, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the modern society and the ruling class, blah 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 blah. They doesn't matter who they are, but they want you not to have rules because you're easier to manipulate when you don't have standards. What's my big three rules? Great question. My one of my number one things, and all I can go through them for men, men and women. So men in my community, the first thing that you have to have is you have to have self-awareness and be self-responsible. So if I come to you and I say, hey, this isn't working out for me, what is this for you, can we talk about it, this isn't working, you need to be able to like have a conversation around that. Okay, so first one is to be like coachable, right? Pretty sensible, coachable, and willing to accept responsibility. Oh, you're talking about my astrology. This is funner. Pisces, Libra, Virgo. Okay. Second rule for my brothers is you have to be dangerous. Like you have to be able to run good. You have to be able to fight. You have to be able to throw well. Right. Like your physical body has to be attuned because and this doesn't necessarily mean you have to be like not fat or not overweight. Like you could be overweight and still move well. But for me, again, I'm going to connect deeper with people who honor the physical body and are how you say entrenched and saturated in that and actually weapons. How do you explain getting defensive thing though? So when people get defensive, nothing wrong with being defensive. Like plenty of people when I approach them, they get a little bit defensive. It's really just about again tolerating their defensiveness because usually when people get defensive it's because there's some truth behind it, right? Like if you told me like, Marco, you're a gambler and a cheater, I'd be like, oh, give me your money, like I don't care because I'm not that. But if I go like, I'm not a gambler, I'm not, no 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 no, oh yeah, I might be doing a little gambling, I might be doing a little cheating on the side, right? So if anyone is defensive about things, it's usually because there's some truth to it. In which case, when you respond to the defensiveness, right, to their defensiveness, what you remind them is, hey, I love you and I'm on your side. Um, we can talk about this later if you want, right? This is the thing is like it's not like a pressure for me because here's the thing is, for instance, in terms of my standards for my friends, again, first one being like able to take criticism and able to be coachable. Second thing is being physically stout. Third thing is that they're self-motivated, like that you have to like do things for yourself, not for other people. Um, but basically when someone's defensive, what I recognize is like, look, if you don't want to own up, if you don't want to live up to my standard, that's fine. I won't measure you against my standard. You can be measured by other people's standards. But it's like this is how it works. It's like you get to choose who you subject yourself to in terms of standard. I subject myself to my partner's standard because I want a relationship with my partner. I subject myself to my daughter's standard and my friends' standards because I want a relationship with them. You don't have to subject yourself to a standard with somebody that you don't want a relationship with. Anyway, dude, we moved up a rank. We were C5 before. Now we're C4, which is lit. I disagree. It's because I'm offended that someone I could have misunderstood me to that degree. Right. And so again, if you're offended, if anywhere that you feel offended is definitely some place where it's like there's parts of yourself that you have yet to accept. That's why you're defensive of it, right? or you're protective of it, or there's parts of yourself in a way that are too weak to stand up to the quote unquote real world. Right? Like if anyone, and let me know if you guys get this. Has anyone ever been in a conversation where it's really hard to talk to the person, you feel like you're shaking, and you're like you can't say the things that you want to say, like your nervous system is not able to handle the confrontation and the that I leave relationship rather than stay. Yeah, as a third line too, especially for anyone with threes or sixes in their profiles, leaving relationships is super important. It's one of the healthiest things that you can do, because straight up, you can come back, you can come back to relationships. Mature people know that breaking bonds and remaking bonds is part of life. And so when you have that like shakiness, like unable to confront the thing, you could say you need to be more accommodating, and you need to use language that's not as triggering, and you need to do this. Or you could realize, regardless of how toxic the other person is being, you can recognize and realize, oh, my nervous system cannot handle this. I am shaking out of my boots. I am not at a place where I can stabilize this energy and say the things that I need to say. Right? It's not that they're they need to fix something about themselves. Sure, maybe. Who cares? What about you? What can I do to make these interactions make me feel less powerless? Well, number one is have the interactions, because the shaking of that, right, is you literally processing trauma as you're doing it. And the more, and not the more that you do it, the better it gets, but the more that you take into account, like your nervous system has a capacity, like you have a limit to how much stimulation you can handle. Yeah. What's wrong with your partner or someone you love misunderstanding your intentions though? See, again, this is the opposing view. It's not what's wrong. Why does my partner misunderstand my intentions? It's where am I not being clear enough with my intentions? Because here's the thing, you can always be more clear about your intentions. And you'll get to a point where you've been so clear with your intentions and the other person is just not getting it, that you have to break the bond. Weird question. Just go to my new car license plate, and the last three numbers are 666. I was raised Christian. Oh my God, wide awake. Right. So that's a gift for you. You could see that as like a cosmic joke that you were raised Christian, because like six is it's like a very material number, right? And three sixes, three is a derivative of six, right? Three plus three is six. And then of course you get nine. Three times three is a six inverted upon itself. So the reason why, in my opinion, 666 became the devil's number was because the 666, the hexagon, six hexagons or three hexagons with each other, it establishes something in the oh my God, that's hilarious. Is it's establishing something in the physical world, right? And the thing about the things that are established in the physical world is that once something is established in the physical world, it can be like kind of like cut off from source, right? And so with the more physically things are established, the more our consciousness is drawn outside of our body and into the thing. And you can see, think balance and harmony, right? It's not a mutually exclusive, that just because this thing is so material that it's going to be possessed by a demon, because not everything that is super material is possessed by demonic forces. Again, part of what the greater system of religion was is to get in between you and the world that you can't see, right? Mainstream religion, especially Catholics, which I was raised Roman Catholic, they want to cut you off from God at the head. And so they say you pray to God through us, right? And they want to cut you off from your body through sexuality. They say don't have sex till marriage. Don't Sexual energy is sinful. And it's not. Sexual energy is creative energy. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What's messed up, right? What's messed up is when you lie about that energy, right? Or you manipulate other people's energy. And it's like, yeah, and it's like there was a lot of, how you say, gatekeeping. And one of the things that I will say is, if that gatekeeping had not been done, right, humans might have killed each other. This is the way I choose to believe. There's a scene. Ooh, did we reach? Oh, we got halfway to the goal, guys. Give me these little kitties, please. Anyway, I'm so not good at like being an NPC. Uh, but anyway, six is the number of carbon. Makes a lot of sense. Strongest material in the world. Carbon. Discipline is to success what carbon is to steel. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Um, so did they unalive? But I see where you're going with that, right? So again, and the scene in the Matrix, it's in Matrix 2 Reloaded. It's when Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus go visit the Frenchman, and they're going through all this security and all this stuff. And at the end, they don't get what they want, and they're in the elevator, and Trinity is like, "Well, that went well," and Morpheus goes, "No, that went exactly how it's supposed to go." And she goes, "How do you figure that?" And he goes, "We're still alive." And so this is the thing, is the fact that we got to this point, the only place to look back at history is from this point. Yes, they fucked up. They didn't know what was going to happen. Duh, it was then. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Looking back and being overly critical and not learning from those criticisms is dumb, in my opinion. Right? Like you could talk endlessly about all the mistakes of the past, but where are we like learning from the past? And oh man, what happened? Oh, got a lot of witch kitties. Awesome. Mm, yes. Schrodinger's cat, kind of. Yes, exactly. So looking back at, like, for instance, the church, yes, I have, and I personally spent many years being very upset. And if you're very upset with the church, be very upset. But understand you're not going to topple the church. And toppling the church is not going to bring forward the light and love that you have been wanting. You have to become the light. You have to accept the church, their mistakes, all of the trafficking they're doing, all of the gatekeeping, all of that stuff. Accept that, because the only way that we're going to build something that is free of that is if we just accept that that's what that is, and we build something safer, more integral. So anyway, okay, but what about the gatekeeping of manifesting? Like, why is it so alienated? I don't really understand that question, but I think you're onto something. Like, for instance, cutting people off at the head and cutting people off at the root. For instance, again, at one point might have been a great idea. Back in times when we didn't have the internet, when people were less coordinated, when our emotions were less developed as a species, because our emotions are more sophisticated now than they were even 100 years ago. Um, Again, certain things gatekeeping is according to the powers. I'm not defending them. I'm just saying, if you put yourself in their shoes, they're given the choice between, okay, we could kill these 10,000 people, or if we don't kill those 10,000 people, they're going to go kill 2 million people. What should we do? What should we do? Right? Not to empathize with them, but to like genuinely tap into, okay, decisions have to be made. And living and being in a position of power, you have to make very challenging decisions, right? And they are still human beings after all. And so it's not for us to judge. We can judge them, but ultimately, again, we have to learn how to incorporate those judgments into our own life, not just let them be judgments, because they will be incorporated into our own lives, and we'll end up judging ourselves in the worst kind of way, especially if we judge other people in these harsh lights. Anyway, but since manifesting is powerful, why is it literally no one talking about it throughout all history? So, they've called it different things, right? And the answering of prayers, the what do you call it? Prophecies being fulfilled. This is all throughout history. The What you're talking about, though, in terms of manifesting, like my language in terms of manifesting is like, we are, even if it were way more sinister, there is still use. Exactly. And so this is the thing, is like, yes, things are bad, some things are good, but objectively speaking, who gives a fuck? Like, what does that actually do for us? Like, look at your own life, make your life better. Once your life is better, then you can start helping other people make their lives better. You can't help someone if you're so focused on, like, man, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. And I know, because I was that way. I think they keep quiet on manifesting because they don't want us to have the power. Right. So then again, and then they're still holding on to that idea, which is partially no longer true, because again, with the sophistication of emotions, manifesting on an individual level is actually beneficial for the communities at large, in my opinion. Gatekeepers have bigger ego. The majority of people, approximately 68 percentage, are average IQ. Right. And a lot of the times, like, people that are prone to narcissism and being manipulators are tend to want to find power because they are smarter, and it's a psychosis to literally be like, well, I took advantage of those people because I could. There's definitely those people out there, 100%. And the way that we cook those people is by, again, being unmanipulatable. And not to say like nothing can manipulate me, but like letting the creator manipulate you. Right? Like when spirit, universe, God throws you a challenge, like let that challenge grow you. Right? Like deformity in your brain, actually it's an anomaly that's going to help me develop psychic powers. Why do you tell yourself that story? You're delusional. Well, hey, look, you handle your shit the way you want to handle it. I'll handle my shit the way I want to handle it. Abracadabra was a term phrase I create as I speak, right? And so part of it is the voice, right? And why are we destroying the earth literally for oil, which is literally power? Which is like, again, I'm not a meteorologist, I'm not a scientist, but in terms of, I don't think we're destroying the earth, in my opinion. I think we're causing a huge imbalance in the industry of earth, has caused a huge imbalance that the earth will correct. And yeah, anyway. So yeah, we're destroying ourselves, really, is what we're doing. Um, have you read the book Illusions by Richard Bach? No, I have not, but that sounds pretty cool. I'll pull it up and have a look at it later. Yeah, I love books. I've read a lot of them. Richard Bach. Oh, this guy looks cool. Okay. Okay. Same. I feel like it's been corrected. Yeah, and again, not to say that we can't destroy the earth. We can totally nuke the earth, but again, the earth is going to be fine. We're going to be fucked, is really what's happening. New creation creates destruction. Look upon Pluto and Eros and Pluto or something. Indeed. Indeed. And that's the thing, is like, we don't get to say what gets created and what gets destroyed, really, on a massive scale. All we can say is, how am I going to make this next decision? How can we understand human design deeper? Practice your strategy. One of the things that I like to do is I like to track the transits. So I look at neutrino design and I look at the transits, and specifically I look at the gate that the sun is in, which, if we were now, guys, and I'll probably be like, oh, we've been talking about that for the past hour, probably. Yeah, it all has its rhythm and polarity, and it's like you can think of like house music. Can you imagine if there was, or a concert? Could you imagine if the concert was the same the entire time and there was no variety? Sucks. Realistically, where would the new world community be? It's going to be everywhere. I think that's what's cool about it. Like, it's going to be in the cities, but primarily I think the new communities are going to be off grid. I think they're going to be in places where Britt, thank you for sharing the live with more than 10 friends. That's amazing. Um, I'm seeing human design and Kelonotic sciences. I actually don't know what that is. Gate 32. Oh, that's right. I was looking at the transits. So current transit is gate 57. So one of the great ways to go deeper with human design is every week we're in a new gate, right? We're in a new gate, and this time it's gate 57, which is about intuition. Specifically, we're in a line that shows us either the natural ability to establish new forms while maintaining the powers of reevaluated and re-examination. This provides clarity to examine the data and give access to the process, the possible intuitive gift for evaluation, and the tendency to keep on keeping on that can end up as a misguided missile. When in action, the intuition may become overwhelmed and unsuitable to assess and evaluate progression. So it's either the like accepting the progression is really what this is about. And this is fifth line of 57, progression. Because the gate itself is in the spleen. It's the intuitive awareness that always ensures survival and well-being. It's about being alert and knowing in the now, driven by fear and a sense of danger for the near future. That's the current transit right now. And so what do we do with that information? Well, we go deeper. What is my relationship with progression? Am I leaning towards being able to examine data and assess the process and have intuitive insights, or am I just keeping on to keeping on? And it's not bad to do that either. There's an exaltation and a detriment for every line that we have. And there are 6 lines in every gate. So if you learn about the gates, if you spend every week, if you tune into the sun transit in a year, you will learn about all of the gates. And again, it's not just about learning about them mentally, it's more like, what is my relationship with this gate? Because, for instance, I do not have gate 57. I have gate 34 though. So when my gate 34 connects to this 57 in transit, it's like, oh wow, this is a time to be more attentive to my intuition. This is the current gate for everyone, correct? I appreciate you, man. I know it takes patience and practice to see and understand. Much love to you, my friend. Yeah, thank you for the appreciation. I appreciate your appreciation a lot. It's taken me. I want to say I started teaching about human design 8 years after I learned it. Okay, it took me 8 years of experimenting with human design to be like, okay, I feel comfortable enough teaching this. So if you know anyone that has been doing human design for longer than 8 years and is teaching, doesn't necessarily mean shit. But when they talk like I do and they have the life that I do, again, proof is in the pudding. So anyway, do I know about crosses? I know about crosses. I'm not going to talk too much about them though, because they tend to be how you say. Um, then everyone wants to know about their cross. But I do have a book recommendation for a beginner. So this is where is it? This is the book that I would recommend for people that want like classic human design. This is it. If you want the underground version, which basically I took all like 444 pages, that's cute, of this book, and I condensed it down into like 20 pages. If you want that, just get a Reiki report on my website. It's 35 bucks, which I think this is, yeah. If you want to take a screenshot, go ahead, take a screenshot. I know it's mirrored. Um, but yeah, this thing has, notes in it, and I got all kinds of like sticky notes and cool stuff going on. So I like having physical books. It's just helpful for me. But like I said, I also have, if you want, and provided that you don't want to wait for a book and you just want to like start learning human design now, I have one of my reports called the Reiki report, has an introduction to human design where I basically did my best to like summarize this book. And it's very like underground, raw, dirty, kind of like, it's very 3-5. It's like the Cliff Notes version. It's more like the human design for dummies type version, because I'm not necessarily like super smart, right? Like I'm a very like practical person. My brain works really well when I take care of it, but I don't necessarily consider myself super smart. I'm not like a great mathematician or any of that. I'm even a little dyslexic sometimes. Like when I see numbers, they're sometimes like backwards to me. But I learned this because it helped me. So anyway, the info on our report is generated the same way that it's generated through your app. So I have a partnership with Neutrino Design, which is the app that probably most of you use. And if you're using a different app other than Neutrino Design, I would love to invite you to Team Neutrino, because it's better. I've looked at all the other ones, and they're decent. They work, but when they're compared to human design, they're garbage in my opinion. So human design, Neutrino Design, and you can get it for 25% off via the link in my bio. That's another great way to learn about human design, because you can track the transits through that. You can tap on like every part of your body graph and get information in real time about it. And this app is congruent with the calculations that the Jovian archive. But what happened? Oh, we reached another live goal, guys. You guys are just you give me all these little kitties, and I love it so much. Let's see, who are my gifters? Jenny, no doubt. ADHD finds. Bless you. Hello, Jean. Yep. Just go. Love it. The spiritual alchemist, love it. The Phil effect. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna set up a new goal here. Big love to y'all. Thank you. This gift thing is kind of fun. Let's see. What do I want next? Oh, let's get 50 dolphins. 50 dolphins. All right, TikTok. You think I'm a robot? All right, 50 dolphins, my friends. 50 dolphins. Where does the information on my graph come from, though? How does it know? So, okay, I get what you're asking. So Jesse, essentially, when you look at a body graph, you're going to see on the left side, you're going to see red placements, and on the right side, you're going to see black placements. The red placements are calculated 88 days before your birth, and the ones on the right, the black placements, your personality, that's calculated at your time of birth. Now, if you look at this this wheel right here, you can see all of these are called hexagrams. This is the astrological houses. This is the constellations for reference. But these numbers here are what are appearing on the body graph. Depending on if like the sun is here, the earth is here. North node's there, south node's there. Mars is here, moon is here. That's what determines how your body graph is calculated. And it's based off of your time of birth. And the cool part about it is that like the story behind how the I Ching was created, which is where these hexagrams come from, was 1 week the turtles being born would have that hexagram on their back. The next week it would be that one. The next week it's that one. And then next year, same time of year, that one. The following week, that one. So they observed the hexagrams in nature. All right. And again, this is all theory, but in my opinion, magic is just things that science hasn't figured out how to prove yet. And so that's the original story of how the I Ching was created. It was these turtle shells that were showing this pattern of the 64 hexagrams. And then you look at the human DNA sequence and there's 64 codons. And it's like, oh my God, it's like we were designed. Yeah, because we were. But not designed by like some sky daddy. We were designed by the harmonies and the relationship that the earth and the sun have. Those are our gods. Our gods are Mother Earth, the mother god. Earth is what holds us and protects us. The sun is what gives her life so that she can do that. Sun daddy, not sky daddy. It's like, it's so funny people talk about it like that. It's like, yeah, it kind of is like that, but they do it in a derogatory way. Like, can't believe you worship a sky daddy. And it's like, dude, we're solar worshipers. We are absolutely shit out of luck without the sun. You guys already know. And so what can we do to like, why are we here if not to continue to put those blessings and those gifts to use by making like our lives. Again, this is what body graphs show us. Body graphs show us, hey, look, here's what you could bring forward if you wanted to bring forward the most natural thing that you could bring forward. And just by the way, the thing that you bring forward that's natural is also going to be a lot easier to bring forward than, let's say, something else that's not natural. What about the moon's impact in your opinion? So the moon has its own place in human design, and typically the moon is describing a driving force, right? Or it's like an underlying force. Some people call it like an emotional like a emotional shadow, in terms of like it's like a subconscious kind of drive. But the driving force for me, for instance, is gate 48. Specifically, it's an over reliance on the need for protection that in times of social renewal is obsessed with the details of planning at the expense of action. Insecurity with one's depth that can fail to take action. That's why I waited 8 years before becoming a teacher of human design, because I didn't want for people to be like, oh, you've only been studying human design for 3 years. You don't know shit. I also didn't want to like share something prematurely that was like, um, and I have to redact a statement, which kind of goes against my. And this is another thing about human design is there are things within your body graph that are going to contradict other things within your body graph. But we have up because we have down. We have left because we have right. We have hot because we have cold. We have sound because we have silence. Contradiction is normal. Is a natural part of of our functioning lives. And so part of harmonizing the energy within your body is to tolerate contradictions. I have HG report tell me I'm a hermit 2-4 projector, but the app told me I'm a hermit opportunist. That's the same thing, Jan. So hermit is the 2, 4 is the opportunist. So no worries. It's the same. It should be the same. Be mindful of the time that you enter, because sometimes people's phone settings will have AM PM, but my body graph generator uses military time, uses 24-hour time. So I'm just laughing because I didn't know that was the title. That's funny. Yeah, and it's like the thing too is like there's plenty of people who know more about human design than me. That doesn't make them better at human design than me. Just gonna say it. And knowing more about your human design will not make you better at living your life. Straight up. Like I know people and I love them, but I want to slap them around sometimes because I know people that know everything about human design, but they still don't use their gut. They still don't wait for invitations. And it's like, since being invited is what the projector's main thing is, yes. Yes, exactly. Appreciate your unique take on human design. Appreciate you, Moxie. I have a stellatite in the eighth house. It's so funny. I actually don't I have no idea what the stellatites are. Stelliate. I'm not an astrology guy. Like, and not to say I don't believe in astrology. Again, I'm just like I'm more concerned with what's going on with my physical body and my reality here than what's going on up there. I might have many contradictions because it's hard to find what I should do as a career as a 37-year-old. Right. It's also hard to figure out what you should do as a career in a society that glorifies making money over taking care of people. Right. So again, the confusion is natural. Stellium. Yeah, I don't know what that is either. Some advanced. Is it like a septum piercing? Is that what it means? I'm just kidding. I know that's not what it means. I just like making jokes. Off topic, but a good plant you got there, good vine. It's TikTok shop, fake vines. I mean, these are real. That's a fern, and then that's a carnivorous honeydew plant, and then this is a snake plant, which yeah, I love. My daughter's a straight up manifester and is 22 who fails to inform. Right. So, wide awake. There's a handful of things you can do as well, and it's like, and this is part of what I want to do. This is part of what I'm trying to do with human design. Is I'm trying to make human design cool. I'm trying to get like the kids, like your 22-year-old daughter, to be like, I don't want to follow Logan Paul. I want to follow Reiki Marco because he's cool and he teaches about human design, right? So that's part of what I'm trying to do. Can human design help people to heal from narcissistic abuse? 100%. Like, again, one of the things that people who suffer narcissistic abuse have to accept is that without a victim, the narcissist has no power. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, especially people who say that person was a narcissist, if they're a narcissist, then you are the victim. And if you're the victim, it means that there's some degree. And again, part of my rules, I think it was rule number 1: and I didn't do the girls, but I can do the girls. It's pretty similar. But rule number one is like you have to be responsible for yourself. You have to accept that, oh, if you're in a relationship that's quote unquote toxic, that you have some toxic behaviors. Now, it's easier to say that the narcissist who's being manipulative and abusive is at fault, but also he's looking for someone weak enough. He's looking for someone victimized enough to do that to. And through that relationship, through learning that, whether you're the victim or the narcissist, you can use human design or anything to heal from that. And what if they're the parents? Again, same thing. You're going to start deeper down in the hole because your parents are the ones that are supposed to role model healthy behaviors, healthy relationship dynamics. When they don't do that, you have to go find other ones. You can still heal yourself from that. But it still is like you could choose if your parents are being narcissistic assholes, you could just fucking run away. And not to be like, oh, you should have done this when you were a kid because you didn't have that concept in your mind. But there are people who make that decision. My parents are being assholes, they're being abusive. I'm going to leave, and they emancipate themselves. So anyway, why manifesting generator needs to say, decide, why manifesting generator needs to say, just declare what they're going to do. So when it comes to manifestors and manifesting generators too, like letting people know what you're going to do before you do it is really helpful. It's because it's hard to talk to a manifester. Like the manifester has this aura, and the manifesting channels are like they're always on. So they're always manifesting. They're pushing things away. The aura is pushing things away. If you don't let people know what you're going to do as a manifester or a manifestor, you're not going to have anyone that wants to be around you, really, usually, because people will be like, man, like I wanted to ask him if he wanted to go to this thing, but he just left and he didn't say. Like they'll make up stories about you that are not necessarily grounded in truth, but it's because they feel like they're being pushed away. And as a manifester, one of the best things that you can do for your own energy is accept my aura is naturally going to push people away. So if I want to keep people in my life, I have to be the one to initiate it. Oh, but I don't want to always have to initiate friendships. Like, do you want friendships or not? Do you want the right friendships or not? Because you could try to just wait and see what happens. Every manifester that I've talked to about this, they're like, yeah, when I wait, nothing happens. Or the wrong people hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Wow, I didn't know this as an MG. It's less so for MGs, more so for manifestors. The thing about being a manifesting generator is you're like a generator with a manifested channel, right? And so when it comes to your strategy is primarily to wait and respond. But in your responses, like manifest your responses, like let people know. Like a generator responding, going like, ew, just leave. Manifesting generator, it's like, ew, yo, the guy, I'm not gonna eat this later. Right? So yeah, something that could be helpful. And again, experiment with it. See if you are see if that works for you. And if it doesn't, two things. Either you are not surrounded by people that are respecting your inner authority and the way that you operate yet, or you're overcoming some kind of like personal inertia against it. Right. So that resonates, but I'm a projector, although I thought I was an MG for a year until I bought your report. Oh, interesting. Alex, make sure that the time on your report is correct because I use 24-hour time. So if you're like 2 p.m. and you put 2 in your report, it'll generate 2 a.m. So just a heads up. But I will say for projectors and for all the types, like you don't necessarily need an invitation to leave something that you want to leave. It might be harder for you than a generator or a manifesting generator or a manifester to leave something that you don't want to leave, but you don't need a formal invitation to leave something. Relationships, parties, events, jobs, etc. You don't need an invitation to leave. Do you believe in rebirths, like everything falling apart to become better? 100%. And especially if you have a 3 or a 6 in your profile, it's part of your way. So Gabby, check out your profile. See if you have a 3 or a 6, because I'm a 3-5, so I have a 3. And breaking bonds and remaking bonds is how I create intimacy. And so if you and me are going to be friends it's not going to be like a, oh, it's going to be like a, geez, I don't know if we're friends. We're definitely friends again. Okay. Breaking bonds, remaking bonds. And sometimes they have to be broken. I'm a generator 6-2, definitely relate. Same. Yep. How do you wait and respond as a generator that does content creation like a YouTuber or blogging? Sick question. Um, so you know how people do those like stitches here on or reaction videos? That's like the epitome of waiting to respond, is just literally responding to other things. In terms of like if you're creating content on YouTube or blogging, like literally you're just sharing your responses to the things that you see in your daily life. You're just responding to comments. You're just responding to other people's opinion. You're responding to rebuttals. You're responding to things. So think of responding as like anything that's coming towards you, whether it's on your screen or in the physical world. Your gut is going to go, it's going to respond to it. When you translate that into physical words, like that's what becomes valuable for people, because you're manifesting your gut response. How can an MG find a people that will respect and resonate with them? If you get an from anyone, just don't spend time with them. Create space in your life, right? Like if you have a couch and there's 100 pillows on the couch and no one sits on the couch, it's because there's 100 pillows on the couch. If you want people to sit on the couch, get pillows off the couch so people can sit on the couch. You have to make space. If you have a closet full of clothes and you want new clothes, get rid of half of your clothes. Create space for friends. I would also recommend, as an MG, to go pick up some new hobbies. Go take a dance class, go find some things, and don't go up and start initiating conversations with people, right? Just wait and respond, see what happens. Because the thing with an MG, it's like this. It's like your first layer that you have to satisfy is your satisfaction. The first layer is having a gut response, right? The second layer is manifestation. If you have a strong gut response and you're like, oh, I want to go over and talk to that person, one thing that you might want to do, because your mind might be responding instead of your gut, one thing you might want to do is just behave purely like a generator. Just see what comes to you. See what people come up to you. Today's conversations are lit. I knew Friday was going to be popping off. This whole week has been epic. And yeah. Ooh, what is Cody doing? Cody is probably at this event that he's at. How do you tell the difference between mind and gut response as an MG? So the gut response comes from down here, and it's about, I have energy to do this or I don't have energy to do this. The mental stuff is literally like repetitive mental thoughts. Mental thought is observing the external world. So one of the easiest ways that you can tell is my decision based off of the external world, or is it based off of the internal world? If it's based off the internal world, it's probably your gut response. If it's based off the external world, it's probably your mind. Another way to help with this, boop, boop, is to meditate, right? So I like silent meditation. Every day I wake up, I RPM, rise, piss, meditate. Super simple. Wake up, go outside, pee, sit down and meditate for at least 5 minutes. And when I'm meditating, I'm not doing it on my bed and I'm not leaning against something. I'm sitting up through the strength of my own spine, and I'm just closing my eyes and I'm just doing my best to be as still as possible. If my mind thinks, cool. If it doesn't think, cool. I'm not trying to stop my mind, right? I'm trying to observe my mind. I'm trying to like not be my thoughts. Yeah, RPM. Pretty lit. So last comment. How far up is it, bro? She looks like a supermodel and currently gets away with it. She's a pop singer and wild. Oh, I missed all that. My daughter's straight up. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, so she's just going through her own, and this is the thing. And I have a daughter too, so it's like when she's 22, she's a manifester as well. I imagine she's gonna do shit that I'm like, I do not approve of that. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I hope at some point, or I hope by that time, when that time comes, I'll have enough tolerance, to be able to discern what can I do. Right? Because the real question is, what can you do? I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to have a deeper conversation in that realm, which could be a good conversation for me to have because, again, my daughter is not 22, but when she is 22, she's only 2. When she is 22, the world will be a very different place when she's 22 as opposed to when your daughter is 22 right now. One of the greatest things I think that you can do for your children is to tolerate them and let them have their own experience, though. Not to say don't teach them things, but um, for me, with my manifestor daughter, when it comes between choosing, for me, having to choose to be someone she trusts or someone that she learns from, I'd rather be someone that she trusts than someone that she learns from. That's just me. I thought of you every time I have seen an NPC live since Wednesday. Yeah, 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 yeah. What will attract people to you as an MG posting online? So if and this is for anyone, if you look at your Mercury and your sun sign, the gates around there, and you let those two gates help to um, inform the way that you post and what you post or the type of questions that you asked. The sun is like your source of vitality, right? And your personality, your expression. The Mercury is like the way you communicate and think. So if you look at those two placements in your body graph, then you can you can get some guidelines on how to post. What you said about tolerance and love helps, as I don't want a distorted spirit. Thank you so much. Yeah. And again, it's like the ego is, again, the immature version of the soul, and part of the ego turning into the soul is through like drama and through trauma. And it's not about trauma, it's about what you do with the trauma. No one is dying with zero trauma in their body. Even the people that have like healed all their trauma, that have actually healed all their trauma, they still have that trauma in their body. They're better because of it, right? So it's like this: stress and inspiration. Which is good, which is bad? What do you guys think? What's better? Is would you rather be stressed or inspired? Let me know in the comments. Would you rather be stressed or inspired? This will be a fun exercise. Do you look at the conscious or unconscious Mercury, Sun, and Gate? You can look at both, but I would start with the personality and then go to the design. Because again, it's like they're just guidelines in terms of like how to post. Inspired, stressed. Depends on what motivates the individual. So I'm asking for you guys. Would you, where you're at right now, rather be stressed or inspired? Right now, I would rather be stressed. Flowbug, you're kind of onto it, but it can be felt in the same place. So I don't know where I'm going with this actually, but I think it's going to be good. Okay, so thank you guys for answering. I'm going to kind of share why I said that. So in human design, the head is the source of pressure called inspiration. This is what to think about, which problems need solving, etc. The root, the bottom of the body graph, is the source of pressure to do things, stress. This needs to be worked on. That needs to be worked on. One is physical, the other is mental. Now, the reason I was like, I think exploring this was because if you have too little stress in your life, you never mature. If you have too little inspiration in your life, you don't evolve. But if you have too much stress in your life, you mature too quickly. And if you have too much inspiration in your life, you evolve too quickly. And so there's a sweet spot, right? In terms of pressure, right? Like there's air pressure right now that is pushing on us. If you were at the bottom of the ocean, there'd be so much pressure and it would destroy your body. When I'm talking about embodying human design, I'm not just talking about memorizing all of your charts. I'm talking about gaining the sensitivity to be able to pressurize your own body at will. Like, for instance, I am in a situation, right, where there is somebody's life in danger or there's somebody being very toxic. I pressurize my body. I make myself harder. My body gets harder. My body gets hotter because I need to process information faster, right, to keep up with what's going on. And like I think I mentioned this earlier, I used to shake when I would have to confront somebody, but now I don't shake. I tolerate my I've tolerated that long enough to create the proper pressure and the proper temperature for me to be able to meet things. And stress and inspiration are so different. They're so different, but they are both pressure systems. And you have to be aware of, for instance, if you have an undefined head like me, or an undefined root like me, you have to be aware that human beings can operate under the inspiration and the stress of other beings, and that we create our own inspiration and stress based off what we choose to do with the cortisol and the stress energy and the stress chemical and the inspiration that we feel. How do you apply pressure to your body without tightening your muscles? So if you fill your lungs up with air, you've pressurized, right? And what also, if you're doing understanding, like, look at my gullet, which one is pressurized and which one is unpressurized? You already know. You already know. So anyway, if you guys want to learn how to do this, I have a community called the Archive that has coursework in it, and it's also a cool little community. So if you want to learn how to, like, all this stuff I'm talking about in terms of like pressurizing your body and learning how to walk, run, and throw properly and make your senses better, all of that is in the Archive, and it's only $11 a month. um like I said, people always tell me, like, Marco, you should be charging more for this, and I say, fuck you. I want it to be super affordable. I want people to not only forget about it straight up, but to also just be like, I should be paying more for this. Like, I'm definitely like an under promise over deliver kind of guy. So anyway, as it reflected with so many root gates, this really helped. Yes, big time. What if you have defined everything except head and throat? Well, that's a generator or a manifesting generator. So follow your strategy, respond with your gut, ride out your emotional waves, be mindful of trying to solve other people's problems and doing things just for attention. Yeah, because like I was saying, is we each generate our own stress and our own inspiration, but we are also susceptible to the stress and the inspiration, the pressure from other human beings, and also the pressure from the external environment devoid of human beings. Right? Like, if there's a bridge you need to cross, that is an external stress and an external inspiration. I'm inspired to figure out how to fix the bridge, and I'm stressed because I need to fix this bridge so that I can get across it. So when you start to view the world from this perspective of, like, there's what's going on in my body and then what's going on outside of my body, that can be a huge win for you guys, or for anyone. The video of not sharing a bed as a projector makes so much sense to me, big time, because again, you're absorbing, or you're projecting your pressure onto your partners. You can think of it that way too. It's not just about protecting your energy, it's also about protecting other people from you. Can you do lives like this once a week or even once a month? Because this is my church right now. So Flo, I do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Come to church, 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. I know I need to get better at advertising it. But I'll probably put it on. Actually, I'll make a note to do that right now. I should probably actually just do that right now. What do you? I'm gonna put it on my website. I have all gates defined. Okay, so period. That's right. 444. Let's go. It's 1044 here. Look, when you feel it in your body with open centers, how do you decide if it's you or you not? So I don't really play that game as much. Like, it's not about, is this mine or is this not mine? It's, can I tolerate this or not? Right? Because if I can tolerate it, to me it really doesn't matter whether it's mine or it's not mine. Um, do I need to make it? And this is particular for reflectors, because over the course of 28 days, it will show itself to be yours or to not be yours. Like, if it's still with you after 28 days, the pressure, and you can't pin it to somebody else, it might just be yours. In which case, operate on it. Oh baby, we just got 33 dolphins. Thanks, Flowbug. You are epic. I love it. I have all gates. I just sorry. Hold on. Dude, I hit the jackpot today finding you. Thank you guys so much. I'm so happy you're finding me because I'm looking for y'all. You know what I mean? Like I'm genuinely looking for people that want to learn this stuff because it's the most important shit to me. It's the most important thing in the world. This is there's nothing more important than being self-aware and having compassion. Yeah, that's my what's my name? So my name is Marco Polo. I'm doing it, guys. I'm doing it. I'm putting the putting the thing on it. Hawaii is my special energy place. Yes. This so needs more than video game content, right? Yeah, and so again, to continue to share the message, like what I'm doing here, guys, going live is like there's people live right now on TikTok that are like they're just trash talking each other for likes. They're not doing anything. There's people being NPCs. There's people doing characters and stuff. That's all cool, but like I want to talk about stuff that is relevant and that's helping people. I don't just want to entertain you guys. Although I recognize I'm pretty entertaining. It's great. But I really want you to guys to feel like I'm here to educate you. And that doesn't mean I'm here to teach you things. Education, the word educo means to lead out. I'm here to hopefully inspire you and stress you out enough and guilt trip you into living the life that you actually want to live. That's what I'm here to do. And I'm also here to give you some tools and equip you as well along the way. And so, um, again, I know I talk about this number a lot, but it's like the higher this number goes, the more we are put up there, the more people are going to see this. I am in Hawaii, aloha, and I will be doing live readings. Actually, not this time around. I have to figure out what kind of system I want to do because I will tend to like once I open the door to doing live readings like this. Um, yeah, I feel like there's just going to be a lot of people. So I need to figure out a way to like actually make it so that it doesn't fatigue me because I love these lives and sometimes I will do this thing where something I love, I like change it up and then I don't love it as much anymore. And so I've been loving being able to just kind of like flow and chat, which we will see how this goes. I would say either next week or the week after that I will be doing the what's it called? The live readings. So in the meantime, I do one-on-ones and you'll get a full hour with me. And those are going to be, in my opinion, those are always going to be so much deeper than anything that I can do on here. Create a limit where you have a number and you'll do a time and you'll do it for. Yep, exactly. Thank you for this. I've been super into astrology and numerology, but I'm excited to dive into this. Welcome. And then maybe chat with us before. So once you're done, you feel fine and just logging off. Yeah, I've been, again, it's like how you say, I've just been playing around with it in my head is really what I've been doing with it. And as a reflector as well, part of my strategy is to wait 28 days before making a decision. And so this is something that I feel like is definitely going to I've been thinking about it for around 20-ish days. Like I got another week in this. And yeah, we'll see. Please don't forget to bring some Auntie Sandy's banana bread straight from K-Knife. Yeah, that's awesome that you know about that. That's great. I want to do a one-on-one live. I've had human design readings before, and they're never deep enough. Yeah, so the thing about human design in depth, right, is like um, I would be able to do a more advanced reading in I would say probably an actual one-on-one. Although we could definitely try it live. So wait for a week or so, and I don't know how I'm gonna set this up exactly, but I'm excited to. It's also like unintentionally building hype for the live readings, which is epic. Um, did we meet our golfing goal? We're like four things away from the golfing dolphin goal. Okay, great. I think I should do with you is that on Zoom. Yeah, so I do it on Zoom. And if you do want to book some work with me, just go to my website and you'll be able to book a over there. It'll take the payment, give you a calendar and everything, give you reminders. Thanks for this live. I work at an antique shop and it was dead. Got me through the last hour. Alex, I'm so happy to hear that. Dude, that is, and thank you for sharing that because that is one of the coolest things I think. And one of the most beautiful points of motivation for me personally. So in human design, I have what's called guilt motivation. And guilt motivation is basically I'm properly motivated when I'm doing the things that I know I need to do to get the results that I want. This is opposite to hope motivation. Hope motivation is hope for the best, do whatever, and hope for the best. That's what properly motivates them. I used to live like that and I was never motivated. Now I live with guilt. And every time that I don't go live, when I say I'm going to go live or deliver on something, I feel guilty. That is super motivating for me because then I think about people like you, Alex, who are sitting in the antique shop and you're on TikTok and you're like, nothing here is cool. Nothing here is I don't want to listen to any of this. I guess I'll just listen to music. And it's like is opportunities for not necessarily me to be in your face, but for me to put you back in your face. Because again, I'm a reflector. I'm here to put you in your own face so that you can start listening to you, so that you can start paying attention and loving yourself, etc. Yeah, one I'll do a okay, how about this guys? That's what all the Gen Zers are doing. Plotting and scheming. My chat destroy your chat. So my goal is to like whoever is at the top of the chat battles right now, my goal is to like take those people down. And not like obviously I don't want anything bad to happen to them, but I want to like overcome them with the power of love and self-awareness and human design and Reiki. Like I want this team specifically, and if you're watching and if you've tapped the screen even once, you're on the team. Team Human to take down the heretical battle brothers and the chaos NPCs. That's where we're headed. And one of these days, I'll do a 24 hour stream, which will be crazy. But now that I'm thinking about it, that could be super fun because I know if I committed to 24 hours, that you guys would commit to a degree and help, which would be fun. Yeah, now that I'm saying it, I'm really scared. You guys are probably gonna make me do that. I would do that though. That would be nuts. That would be super fun at the same time, though. Like I said, it's all an experiment. I'll write it out in 28 days. You guys will know whether or not I'm doing that or when I'm doing it. I learned commenting hashtag FYP just helps like tapping FYI. Interesting. Yeah, guys, use all your tips and tricks and techniques. Again, I just want this. I just want these messages to reach people. I genuinely just want these messages to reach people because I have felt the impact of these messages and I've lived the impact and it's just like so awesome. It's so awesome. And I again, like I said, I want everyone to be able to experience this. So yeah, and you guys have been like such a huge help and I'm so excited that just every time I go live, you guys like pull up and it's just like we're lit. Here comes the guilt. Now I gotta do it exactly. Proper motivation. You talk about need motivation. I have it and it seems negative, right? So all the motivations, in my opinion, seem negative, and that's kind of the point of it because motivation is about figuring out what pains you and then resolving that pain. So for instance, I see motivation as like partially like a pain response. So for instance, with need motivation, what you got to ask yourself is what are the things that you actually need in your life? and motivate yourself to establish those needs in your life. Now, the opposite of need is the fear motivation, which is the projected need, right? So fear is about I will need this. Need is about I do actually need this. Yeah, Marco, if you don't do it, we'll be sad and tell you how sad. Innocence is my motivation. Don't view it as negative. Great. I view it sometimes as like naivety, but with innocence, and again, similar thing. It's like discovering what actually motivates you is a more, in my opinion, it's like a more advanced mechanic than than others. And one thing I will say is like I'm not too familiar with need motivation, or sorry, innocence motivation. That's actually, there's always like a handful of the elements that I just don't necessarily go to, but it really is about, like how you say, having naivety. It really is about embracing naivety. Yeah. I have a defined ego and I find discipline is really hard, but I have motivation. How do I find out my human design? Yes, we can have a bus tour. So you figure out your human design by just going to my website, reikimarco.com, and plugging in your birth time. Be mindful. It's a 24-hour clock. So if you were born at like 2 in the afternoon, that's 14, not 2. Okay, let's do the YouTube. You guys are gonna sit over here for a hot second while I give the tour. All right, guys. You ready for this bus tour over here? Okay, take you outside real quick. So this is my crib. It's on my cane grass. Sucks, but okay, let's flip the camera. This is my porch. That's my Tommy Bahama chair. This is my bus. His name's Naga. So if you don't have your birth time, download the app because there's a birth time rectification feature on there. And this is my bus. It's very, it's very simple and humble. But this is the bus. My hats, my teams, my desk. Under my desk, yep, I play Xbox. Just if anyone wants to know. I just play Halo with my brother because that's the only way we can connect. Microphones, stuff, guitars, hand pans, gear, desk, coals, incense and stuff. These are my crystals. Always got the selenite, pendulum. That's my bed area. This is my little tea area and my bubbly water from last night. And this is my kind of like my catch-all everything area. Which these are kind of like my altars up here on top of my speakers, if you can tell. And then yeah, that's my view. And then this is me adding to my website the thing that I said I'd add. And that's the bus, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Very short tour. But yeah, which is crazy too, because I have TikTok to thank for this bus as well, because basically I was doing all of my work in this little hut on the property that we rent here. And oh yeah, that's another dolphin. That's all of the dolphins. 50 dolphins. Flowzilla, bless you. Hello, Gene, Star Healer, Misty Babo. You guys are legends. Those dolphins are going to be very happy with me. But anyway, I was saying that go baby penguins this time. Baby penguin. I was saying that I used to like do all of my work in this like little hut right next to my house. It's not that far from my house. My house is maybe like if I run there, I can get there in like 15-20 seconds. So it's pretty short. Oh yeah, we're just getting all these baby penguins already. Okay, guys. So much fun. But so yeah, so I live close to oh man, now I gotta set another goal. Dang it. Okay. All right. Jenny just blowing me up with the baby penguins. Okay, what do we want? Tiny Diny. Okay, let's do 100 Tiny Dinies. Uh, but I used to live and work and sleep in a little hut. It was like a little 10 by 10 hut. And then the property owner told me it was over a property line and that he had to tear it down. So he tore down my office. And then that month or the month after that, I went viral for the first time, got like 3 million views on a video. And I was like, holy crap. And because of all of that and the reports generated and the sessions that I was able to get out of that just that exposure that made me enough money so that I could buy this bus and convert this bus, and now I live in the bus. So anyway, that's the story of the bus. But it's amazing how you know part of my how I see my motivation came through in there was if I don't get this bus, then I'm doing all of my work in the place where my family tries to relax and chill and play, which is not cool. So I use my guilt motivation in the way to like really show up for a lot of the work that was happening during that time so that I could get my bus. And I always had my ears and eyes on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and looking around for buses. And I was literally at a workshop for agriculture and I saw these buses and I was like, "Yo, what's up with those buses? Do any of them run? Because I need one that runs." And they're like, "This one runs." And I said, "Okay, I'm buying it." Yeah, and it was awesome. So the bus is not too far from my home. No. When should manifestors stop continuously initiating connections with the same people? It's tiring. Yeah, yeah, I feel that. So something that you might want to consider, Adrian, with that one, right, is like um, regarding the reciprocity of manifesting. Like, for instance, if I inform someone and there's a ooh, right, that's like a successful like, okay, we're making this happen. If you inform someone and there's like a but they still do it anyway, inform them, hey, look, I don't want someone that has an I want someone that's like a woohoo. If you're not that, that's fine. I'll find that person. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. I love the metaphor of a tree from a seed for stress. The tree will feel the stress to open and grow. Yes, sometimes it even takes fire. This is cool. I just looked it up and I'm exactly what I thought. What did you think you were? Interesting. Um, Jolly Kai. So I'm not doing any readings right now, but eventually I would say like in the next like month or so, I'll be doing live readings here. A projector. Yeah, projectors usually know when they're projectors, just because like it's hard to care about yourself as a projector, and that's one of the common things that talks about. Oh, do you like have a low energy and like see everything? Oh, you must be a projector. Okay, got it. Although I know plenty of projectors with like really high energy. They also take like supremely good care of themselves, and it comes in bursts, like everyone. Well, guys, full 2 hour stream today. Absolutely incredible stream. I think it's time for me to go get some breakfast and say hello to my daughter and my partner. You guys have been absolutely wonderful, surpassing expectations. Yet again, this might be my favorite live that we've done so far. Um, and for anyone that is not already following, please make sure you follow because there's nothing worse than like having finding a great live and then they're gone, right? Because you didn't follow. So if you're not already following, make sure you follow. Reiki Marco is the name. Pretty easy to remember. If you need anything or if you want anything like body graphs or reports or sessions or the app, do all of that goes through the link in my bio or go to reikimarco.com. There are a lot of scammers out there that specifically target people in my live. Just terrible. Thank you for the subscription. Still don't know how that whole piece works, but anyway, thank you. Much love. I'm never going to reach out to you and ask you for money. Okay. So if there's a Reiki Marco with two O's or Reiki underscore Marco or whatever, reaching out to you saying like, hey, I felt really called to work with you and we need to do work, like there's tons of fake profiles in my name that are going to send you messages. They're all scams. Okay, I'm not going to reach out to you. If you want to work with me, just come work with me. I have a calendar to book sessions. I have reports available on my website. Like everything works through reikimarco.com. I'm never going to be like, hey, send me a Venmo. Unless you're like, you reach out to me and say, I want to work with you. I only have Venmo. Can I send you a Venmo? Then I will say, send me a Venmo. But anyway, there's a lot of scams out there. Don't fall for the scams, please. Just report them. You don't need to let me know either. I know they're out there. Yeah. And again, if you want anything from human design to Reiki to biomechanics, the archive is a great resource for anybody that wants to like get started in like learning about themselves and their body. The archive is a phenomenal place to get started, especially if you are like partial to like, what am I supposed to do? What physically am I supposed to do? It's all in the archive. Now, that's pretty much it. So next time I'm going to see you guys is probably going to be Monday. I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. I might go live this weekend just for fun. So turn the notifications on because sometimes I will go live randomly and have some fun. But I love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this live. Thank you for being a part of this mission to bring human design to the forefront so that people can see themselves, so that people can love themselves. See you next time. Shoots. Aloha.